Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live once again for Empire's State of Baseball. This is episode number 134 on July 28th of the year 2025, airing on Instagram, X, YouTube, and powered by StreamYard. Well, gentlemen, it's the final show of July. August, believe it or not, is already this weekend. Trade deadline season is very much in full swing. Deadline coming up just a few days from now, this Thursday. We've seen a lot of activity coming up into the week, so we'll get more into that in the show. Still a lot of rumors out there, a lot of baseball news over the last 24 hours. So it's going to be a fun show tonight. Really looking forward to it. Joe, how are you doing on this fine evening?
I am doing well. I'm excited for the deadline. You know what? The Mets are back from, kind of playing mediocre baseball to playing great baseball. Handling the Giants is great because if you have a tiebreaker against the Giants, you now own the tiebreaker. So that puts the Giants in a bad spot, puts the Mets in a pretty good spot. It's what you want to see. So I'm really excited for this deadline. I'm really curious what this team and other teams are going to do. It's one of the favorite times of refreshing Twitter of the year where you're just sitting there waiting for news to break, waiting for the next deal to get through. So it's really just an interesting week. I'm very, very excited for it. And minimal work will be done over the next few days.
I listen, there's a couple of things. First of all, I want to apologize on behalf of the New York Yankees to Joe and Corey for not taking care of more Philadelphia Philly business this past weekend. But you guys did get a game over the Phillies there at Sunday. Luckily, you guys swept your set. So you guys were able to take it a little bit of advantage this past weekend. My lights are flickering for whatever reason. Secondly, I gotta say, we've been getting a lot of great support here from our crowd, and to put up mock trades over the last week and to be absolutely crucified by all the baseball Twitter, regardless if it's mocks by us here at ESB or as we displayed last Monday on behalf of our supporters here that also sent in their mocks. We have a lot more that they were sent in this week, so it was a lot of fun. And number three, first of all, just a little bit of advice for everybody out there. My advice for the next few days, find your favorite reporter. So find your Passan, your Heyman, whoever your favorite reporters are. Hit their notification button so you can get the instant notification of when breaking news is out there, because you're going to need it over these next few days. And actually, while you're doing that, also hit the bell for ESB as well. Corey?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Rich. It's going to be a fun week. Get those notifications on. And we have a really fun show coming up this Thursday too. We'll get into that in a minute. Tom, how are you doing tonight?
We are tired. We had our Wildwood weekend, or my Ultimate Frisbee weekend down in Wildwood, which is nice because it's kind of very disconnected from baseball. And all the Judge news was kind of scary, and I just missed all that. I just came back like, oh, he's just a little hurt. So that was cool. But it's a fun weekend, and I am exhausted. I am not so sunburnt. And yeah, we're kind of catching up a little bit. A lot of catch up last night and today to see kind of what happened, because I try to not let it bother me what's going on in baseball for that weekend. So we're here, ready to go.
We'll get into it. I know, listen, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, Yankees related, some Mets news. I mean, things are going well in Queens baseball land. So we'll get into it in our Empire Express. Before we throw to Tom with our rollback bit, let's take a look at the chat and see who's pulled up for today. And of course, there's Jacob Petruzzi with a comment from yesterday. Smack that like and sub for the fellas. Sierra, our very own Sierra here at ESB. If Jacob has a comment from last night, it doesn't count as being first. Okay, so if that don't count, this will. Pars goes, let's go. 11, well, now 10 more subscribers until 500. We just hit 490, so we've been making our way up slowly but surely. Our guy Master Flips here. He says, spin that wheel. Look at that. Master Flip say, spin the wheel. And we got Hitman in the building, longtime supporter of the show. Sierra here. I saw Mets fans crashing out over the possibility of Vientos being traded. I know his name's been tossed around. Houston Astros with interest among some teams. Mike Parziali again, party time. Future, hello. And then Jacob here goes, Rich, we need a post-deadline tier list. There was a lot of our guy Keith in the building as well. Shout out to Keith, says subscribe. A lot of clamor, Joe, Corey, and Tom for the tier list to make its return with everything going on. A lot of bad reporting. Joe's going after Scoops again. Joe, you can't let Scoops go.
Joe, you know what? I'm convinced that Joe is Scoops.
He's Scoops. Yeah.
And this is his way of just playing with himself. He's a
double agent
on and saying he's so dumb, and that's my theory. I don't know. What do you guys think?
You get these brain dead idiots that tweet from their dorm room that think they're fancy. First of all, he turned around before and used some random word that didn't fit the sentence at all.
Ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous. Like he's taking his SATs for the 15th time. Trying to throw a fancy word in there. Meanwhile, the guys literally sit there. He went out to the winter meetings to hand out resumes to work in the mailroom.
Jesus.
So this guy doesn't know jack shit from his elbow. And then you got morons in his comments section asking for a Q&A from the guy.
Then you have bigger morons from our Twitter account constantly reposting him just to get his word out there more, get him more in the algorithm so he gets more comments. It's your problem, Joe. And that's why I'm convinced you are MLB Scoops. Admit it. Hey, hi, my name's Joe Pugliese, and I'm MLB Scoops.
I can't understand how there are 18,000 bozos who follow this guy and think he's a serious account. That's the problem I have with it.
That's the problem. It's not even like I feel like in a way Scoops knows they're full of shit and they're just like, well, we got these 18K with us, so we're just gonna keep running it, and we're not gonna waste time with Joe Pugliese calling us out on little ESB over there.
We see fake news. We gotta call out fake news. That's what the tier list was about. So the fake news tier, especially during trade deadline week, is alive and well.
That's
tier 5.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's the scoop on Scoops. But Tom, what's the scoop on Roback?
What is the scoop? What is a scoop on Roback? Is transitions from Corey Favs. That's why he's the best in the business. Listen, we are right in the middle of summer. It is hot out there, and there's no better way to kind of have some nice stuff out for the summer. That's some nice Roback. It's very breathable. It's light. It's stretchy. Polos, t-shirts, this type of year, shorts. It's got some bathing suits as well. They even got some. I have one on. It's the original one. I think they have a newer one now. It's not officially called the Happy Gilmore. I know Happy Gilmore 2 just came out, but it has just happens to have like a golf cart and an alligator on it. So technically it's not a Happy Gilmore one, but they have a new one out. I think. Look there. Yeah, but they have a new one out. I think it's called the Chubbs 2.0, which if you're into Happy Gilmore, a great item to pick up. Head over to Roback.com. Promo code TWASPL15. Get yourself 15% off your first order.
Yeah, listen, the Robacks are great. I know I'm not wearing one right now, but my closet is absolutely full of them, especially this time of year in the dead of summer when it's 90, feeling like 105 outside. No better time to wear a nice, comfortable Roback polo. Nice, cool, and comfortable. But anyway, we do got a jam-packed show tonight. We're going to start off with the Empire Express, giving you the latest and greatest in New York baseball news for the Mets and Yankees. Really the tale of 2 weeks. Mets went ahead and swept their week. Yankees got a game here or there, but not the best of weeks. We'll then go into the – what was that?
Played like shit.
I mean, yeah, that's one way to put it. After that, again, we're going to jump into the all-international team. So if you're following along on Instagram or YouTube, for the last month and a half or so, we've been going around the world and drafting a baseball team. So we'll kind of show the final roster, how that all shook out. New York Strike Exchange, everyone's favorite Bulls and Bears segment, makes its bi-weekly return this week. So we'll see who are the top 5 and bottom 5 players in New York baseball. And then finally, we'll be wrapping up, very, very fitting, Trick of the Trade is our game segment of the week. So no better game segment for a trade deadline week.
Wasn't done on purpose, I swear. Wasn't done on purpose. we rotate these every 5 weeks. So the fact that it landed on this week was kind of crazy. Did not plan that. All right, before we get into the Yankee stuff, a couple more comments trickled in. Jordan Tyler's in the building. We got Swift. Tweet from their dorm room. They had to be in college to be tweeting from a dorm room. Boogie's in the building. Sounds like Joe is jealous of ice cream cones. JDR here. JDR, welcome JDR here to the show. Wheel of Wospil, he goes. Hashtag Wheel of Wospil. And then CK goes, rest in peace, Chubbs and Carl Weathers. Of course. So Happy Gilmore too. Love the cameos, hated the movie. But we'll move on from there. Let's talk about the New York Yankees here, Thomas. Wild and wacky weekend for the New York Yankees. Most of it not good. There was a trade. There was another trade. There was a big injury. There was a 2 out of 3 series loss. Where do you want to start?
We could start with the big man. Like I said, Saturday I was busy all day, and from what I understand, it sounds like there was a time on Saturday where it seemed like Aaron Judge's elbow blew up, and he was going to be in a lot of trouble, which seems to be not the case now. So very happy I missed that. I just kind of got the end of it. Yeah, so he's dealing with the flexor strain in his elbow. They seem hopeful that he's going to be back in 10 to 14 days. It's going to be really interesting when he does come back because he's going to have to DH. And then what do you do with Stanton, who has been really, really good as of late? That's a problem we'll deal with in a couple of weeks. But yeah, it's the Judge thing, I think, is it. He's been the best. He's been having a historic year after, multiple historic years already. Can they weather the ship? Can they just kind of stay alive for the next couple weeks without Judge is kind of my first question.
I mean, it's going to be tough. And what I mentioned on a Bronx Take earlier today, he is so important to your roster that I think he being out could be the end of your season unless you have the right people ready to take over and to be able to supply a team's worth of offense. You're not going to replace the sole offense of Aaron Judge on this team. But we have seen this team go 2 different directions without Judge. We saw all the way back in 2019, Thomas, when Aaron Judge went down for the majority of the season, it was the next man up mentality. Seemed like everybody who got the call from Luke Voigt all the way down to Mike Tauchman stepped up into a role, and the Yankees ripped off an American League East victory without Aaron Judge for the majority of that season. So that team went to the right direction, still lost to the Astros in the playoffs. In the other direction, we saw 2023 happen, where the New York Yankees didn't make the playoffs, and they were not a good team. And we're talking about the Billy McKinney, Willie Calhoun New York Yankees, or the Rougned Odor New York Yankees. This team was not good at all. Going into this injury, the Yankees already had issues with or without Aaron Judge. So now having Judge outside of what the Yankees got currently going on, what they got currently going on is a 2-2 tie heading into the top of the 4th inning with the Rays. It's not good. And until this Yankees team can pull together some more timely offense, until they can't get out of their own way with the poor defense we've seen over the last few months, the whole season, and the bad bullpen, I don't know if this team can survive without Aaron Judge at the helm. Joe, Corey?
It's gonna be interesting because the offense has still been good. I know Judge is the best offensive player in baseball, and I know that the offense being good, a lot of it has to do with Judge's numbers. I get that, but there's been other guys. Jazz has been really good. Stan's been good of late. Bellinger's been good. Goldschmidt has kind of turned around after having a bad month of June. So I do think, listen, they're not going to be as dynamic without Judge. I think offensively they could be okay, but like you said, the bullpen has been so bad. Like they can't hold anything. It was a miracle. They won yesterday. That the bullpen held.
The guy who's pictured actually might be their only dependable guy in the bullpen after 2 months of not being dependable at all.
That's the point. He was the least reliable guy out there. I mean, the thing with Judge too, look at it from the way it shook out, where you think, again, things could change. We don't know. But you figure it looks like it's going to be a minimum type stay on the IL. At least from what I was hearing, it's like, all right, you could probably come back in the minimum and then DH for a little bit before going back out in the outfield. The problem there, too, is what happens with Stanton? What happens if Judge is good enough to bat, but it takes him like 2 weeks, 3 weeks to really be comfortable in the outfield? You have a logjam. Stanton's not going back in the outfield. He could, maybe. I don't know. You don't want him out there.
That's
an unfortunate wedge.
Corey, unfortunately, that is the proposed plan right now.
That's the crazy part. because Stanton's one of the hottest hitters. We know he can't stay healthy when he goes into the field regularly. This is going to be a problem. And not to mention the fact that flexor strains are insanely tricky. He could turn around and throw a ball for the first time in 2 weeks, and that thing will flare right up. So he's not replaceable. The Yankees now are in a very tough spot. If they have a bad 3 days, even 4 days, because their game's early at 1 o'clock on the trade deadline, the Yankees really have to consider not doing anything, because by the time Judge can come back, the division might be gone. It's already looking like it's almost out of reach. But at the same time, they could be 8-9 back by the time Judge even gets back on the field. You're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to sell to improve a team that you're questionable to begin with Judge, and now without Judge could theoretically go into a free fall. I mean, let's be honest, there's holes up and down this team, and your best player was playing like a video game. And now without him, I don't think this offense is that good. I think he hides a lot of the issues that this offense has, including a lot of players that are very streaky. Listen, Jazz and Cody have been good this year, but they're streaky players on the regular. They're usually not supposed to be your best offensive players on the team. There's a reason for that.
Joe, almost all players are streaky. I mean, unless you're talking the best of the best players, they're almost all players are streaky. That's just kind of how baseball works. I guess, in 2025.
Joe, is your textbook definition of streaky just there's way too many long periods of being terrible and way too many short periods of being really good.
Right. Jazz will go a whole month batting $160, and then he'll go a month batting $340 and hitting 8 home runs in the month. Like that's just what he is.
Not as a Yankee.
He did. He all of April. He batted $180 in April. So it's not like this is exclusive, but I'm simply saying that Cody and Jazz aren't good enough offensive players to carry a team. They're just not without Judge.
And Joe, you mentioned the division. Joe, you mentioned the division maybe being gone. How about the wild card? Yankees are only a game and a half up on the hottest team in baseball right now, the Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers right now are wild card 4. Only a game. The AL wild card is absolutely insane because you got 4 teams within a game and a half of each other. You're playing the 500 Rays, who are 3 games back. The Guardians, who have a ton of issues. I don't think they're going to roll any dice here to get into the wild card themselves. So we'll ultimately see what happens. But 10 games is a lot. Things change on the whim. Because you look at the Mets side, 10 days ago, it was doom and gloom, and now things are looking good. So we'll see what happens over 10 games. But it's wild because you could go 500 with Judge.
Boston's starting to come around now. Boston's starting to click. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Boston can go out and get a big time starting pitcher, and all of a sudden, Boston a game out is looking like the better team going into the last 2 months of the year.
And that's what I try to say, too. Even after the Devers trade, I was like, well, listen, for things to go right for Boston, I mean, their kids have to step in. And look, they still have the ammunition. If they want to go out and improve certain areas, they can absolutely do that. And they have more ammunition than the New York Yankees do, at least more attractive ammunition, I would assume. So, it's going to be very interesting. And I tell you what, we're getting very close. I mean, they're 5.5 out. Once that becomes a 7-game out, this standings graphic is going to go, and we're going to bring in the wild card standings because that's what it may become. Just a look at the wild card, and that's it.
I also think.
I mean, the Blue Jays. I don't think the Blue Jays are going to keep this up the rest of the season.
I don't think so.
The Blue Jays. I think they have some talent, but I said it last week. They are the biggest chokers in Major League Baseball. They're going to have a streak in there where they give some back. Now, can the Yankees match that and play good baseball for a 2-week span and cut that lead significantly? That's to be seen. But I don't think the Blue Jays are some juggernaut who is, hey, listen, they just had a rough start. They're truly a great team. I think the Yankees have been playing putrid baseball. The Blue Jays got hot for a time, and we're going to
the Blue Jays got hot at the right time.
They took advantage.
And for the Yankees' sake, you hope that kind of luck flips. Now the Blue Jays will fall off and the Yankees get hot. If that doesn't happen, the Yankees, AL East, the division is lost. And I think by the next time we do the show, we're going to be looking at the wild card race. Have 150 people in the building. We really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for that. There was a couple of moves that were made over the weekend, though, Tom. We are in trade deadline week, so I do want to look into a couple of moves made this past week, and we'll also look into the Mets move with Baltimore here. The Yankees made this first move on Friday. It cut off a pretty good episode of a Bronx Take on Friday afternoon, where the Ryan McMahon news dropped here. Griffin Herring and Josh Groves going back to Colorado. Tom, your thoughts of this deal? Do you think the Colorado Rockies got a decent package for a guy who leads the league in strikeouts? What do you got?
He is a first and foremost great defender. We saw that especially yesterday in the field. Yep. Frankly, he had a good offensive day yesterday. The Yankees won yesterday because of Ryan McMahon.
It was a good debut weekend.
If they don't have Ryan McMahon, they get swept because, Bevan Peraza, not necessarily in that spot, but, we've seen enough of Peraza out there. They didn't give up much. I know they took on the contract. I know he's a guy that past couple years has been really, really good. This year hasn't been as good. Interesting to see to get him out of Colorado. Yes, I understand Coors Field does inflate numbers, but then there is a drop off when most Rockies go on the road, and then once they get out of Colorado, it can level out. Case in point, what DJ LeMahieu was in the beginning. Let's not think of DJ LeMahieu of 2025. Let's think of what DJ was like when he originally got here. I'm not saying he's going to win a batting title, but he was significantly better at first as a Yankee than he was later on. So I like the trade. They needed a third baseman. Suarez would have been the offensive answer to what they need, especially now with thinking with the Judge injury. But they got him for 2.5 years. I like the move. I think it's a good move. I want to see what he's going to do in New York, obviously, and how he's going to go from like the worst run franchise possibly in sports, one of the top 5 worst franchises in sports, to being on the New York Yankees, and we'll see how he handles that. I think it's a good move, though.
McMahon as a trade target for a number of years now has been interesting because it was noted that ownership was huge on McMahon for Colorado, had pegged him as untradeable at one point. But at some point in your player's career, that untradeable calms down a bit. And Ryan McMahon, now a New York Yankee, a player which I think when it came down to this position, very polarizing fan base we have. That were kind of all over the place on what they wanted from obviously the big target, Eugenio Suarez, Brian Hayes, Nolan Arenado's names were thrown out there, but Ryan McMahon is what the Yankees end up landing on. The one of a couple things I wasn't a big fan of is the fact that the Yankees added another lefty to the mix. The Yankees have gotten to a point that didn't exist years ago when the lone lefty in the lineup was Brett Gardner, Thomas. You remember those days. We were hosting Savages in the Bronx, and we were complaining that the Yankees had no lefties. All they had was Gardner and Aaron Hicks on the left side. Now they're two lefty. Now they need right-handed hitting. So it really didn't fit the need there. From a defensive point, yes, it does. He's a good glove there at third base. Now, Corey and Joe are familiar with this guy because this trade was made on Sunday.
Yeah.
Ahmed Rosario in the mix here. Ahmed Rosario, who once walked off against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. It was in COVID 2020. It was a crazy-ass year that year. But Tom, they gave up Clayton Beater and Brown Martinez to get him. We haven't seen Rosario make his debut in pinstripes yet. He's been in the clubhouse for a couple of days now. I thought it was an interesting move. I mean, it's an upgrade over Oswald Peraza, but it doesn't really fulfill a major need on this team.
It doesn't fill a major need, but they didn't give really anything up for it. Clayton Beater, we have seen him play for the Yankees, and I saw a point over the weekend that it kind of drove this home. The Yankees bullpen is horrible right now. And if Clayton Beater wasn't good enough to get into this Yankees bullpen, then Clayton Beater is just, it wasn't going to work. So yeah, you get Rosario, bench bat. He hits lefties well. He has played some outfield, so maybe we could see him in the outfield. I think we could see him play some third. We could see him play some second. We'll see what he's going to do. They didn't give up anything, and they got someone who hopefully can, get some big pitch hits.
Wait a minute.
Play maybe once or twice a week, and I think that's fine. I think it's a good deal. They haven't in either deal. They haven't wasted any of the capital that will be needed to reinforce the bullpen, which is what they need.
So Met fans, Corey, Joe, what should we expect from Am Erazar? I know it's been a number of years since he's last been a Met. Somewhat of a different player from the last time he was in your organization. But what should we expect here from this player?
Yeah, he's an interesting player because there are times where you look at him and he looks like he's got the tools to be a complete player, and he just never seems to put it together. Listen, he's a scrappy player. He gives decent at bats. He doesn't, he doesn't swing out of his shoes for the fences. He's not that kind of guy. He leaves a little bit to be desired, even though he's got a lot of defensive flexibility. He should be a lot better fielder than he is. He's an okay fielder. He's not a great fielder. Again, bench bat, you're replacing Oswaldo Peraza. From that perspective and the Ryan McMahon trade, the Yankees have improved their biggest position of need, that being third base, and their second biggest position of need, depth on the infield, because they had depth players playing a start and role. Now that they're those depth players, now you get to knock one off the roster because you got McMahon and Rosario. The one thing is, I don't know how much it moves the overall needle of the Yankee team. McMahon is an interesting one. He's paid a lot of money to be taking a chance on a guy like that. He's making $16 million a year. Coors Field does do strange things, right? Like Coors Field, the ball carries a Coors Field, and typically away the ball does not carry as much. But also from the perspective of the offensive player, the ball moves differently in each home and away. That leads to your numbers being askew. The ball moves differently in 29 ballparks than it does at Coors Field coming out of the pitcher's hand. So when you go and take some of these players out of Coors Field, and in this case, it might take a month or two to get the results that you need. But once that player is now used to playing in a ballpark where the ball is not moving in the thin atmosphere, I think that hit tool is going to come back from McMahon a little bit. So it might not be a situation where defensively, beyond defense, McMahon's a big help to this club this year. I think next year is where you're going to start to see a little bit better of the Ryan McMahon that the Yankees are expecting, and that's because I think he'll have so much time away from Coors Field to get back used to.
I agree with that point. I don't think it should take him as long because he's coming from the NL to the AL, and I know that there's interleague play now, but I think where that really messes with him is in the NL West when you're seeing a Clayton Kershaw curveball at elevation, and then you're seeing Clayton Kershaw curveball in LA, and it's like, whoa, this is the same pitcher. I maybe saw him 2 weeks ago, and this looks different. He's gonna be seeing mostly pitchers that he hasn't had as much experience with, so I don't think those variations are going to be as much of a bother in this case as it would have been if he stayed in the NL and then he has more stuff kind of going on in his head. Yeah, I think you're right. They got better. They got better at both these trades, but there's much bigger stuff that they have to do if they're going to be serious about competing.
Yeah, I do want to make two points on the deal. The first, these type of deals, while they don't necessarily get the headlines, they can help you win some ball games. And to use the Mets as an example, I look at the Kelly Johnson trade, and it was so good. They did it twice. They did 2 deadlines in a row to get Kelly Johnson. So the guys veterans in the game could give you multiple positions. They're not starting every day. But you play them maybe 3 games out of 7. They find their way into the lineup depending on the situation. So it's a good move. And you gave up nothing for it. A 28th overall prospect for your team and an unranked prospect. Right. Speaking of ranked prospects, if you want to talk about, and again, it's trade deadline season, Rosario at one point was I don't know if he was number 1 overall. He was at one point the number 2 overall player in baseball. In all of baseball, not even the Mets.
Yep.
He was a top 2 prospect in all of MLB. And what did he turn out to? A decent player. And if this should have been the prime of his career, more towards the end of his prime, but towards the end of the prime of his career, you give him up a 20th ranked prospect in your system. So all these prospect huggers out there, stop hugging, let go. Let go. Go all in.
Couldn't agree more. Last thing I'll say about the trades, and it's something we actually have seen a lot from the Yankees as of late, and something we should keep in mind for the next couple of days. The Yankees, if they're going to go out and get a player of significance, let's say, Ryan McMahon is a significant level player. He's not the most significant. They like guys with multiple years left.
Correct.
And Rosario is a rental, right? He's just
pure rental.
So I think for relievers that they're going to go after, if it's going to be a big time reliever or a bigger time guy, they're going to be looking at those guys with years of control. And I think if it's someone they're just trying to get some innings out of, those will be the rentals. And that's something they've done a lot in the past few years with deadlines. They want, if they're trading for a guy, they want him for at least a year and a half. So I would keep that in mind for the targets for the next couple of days.
Mark Leiter Jr., Scott Efroth, Zach Britton, to name a couple. I mean, yes, that's where they like to target. They like to try to target.
But even like the Joey Gallo trade, the Montas trade, Bellinger, essentially, right? Bellinger has the potential option. So if they're going to trade for someone, they want to be able to keep them. So keep that in mind.
Mickey Callaway compared Rosario to Lindor. Fuck Mickey Callaway. Joe, he did. He is right. No, but he's come back. No, Mickey Callaway. Shout out to Joey Bag Donuts in the building. And Big Slick goes, Tom should ditch the glasses. It's not working.
Hey, Big Slick, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Corey Favs, let's talk about the New York Metropolitans real quick, and then we're going to talk about the trade you guys had this weekend.
Listen, things were great in Metsland. I mean, it was a fun week, 7 in a row. I wish you guys could have won the series, if not swept the series versus the trash Phillies.
All right, enough.
But you know what? I'll take the lead in the division. It's a good time right now. Listen, things are starting to click. They're still not the best with runners in scoring position, and right now, I still think that's their biggest woe. That is something I think they can fix internally. It's just a matter of the guys waking up. But that's still their biggest woe. But other than that, they're getting enough out of their starters. And even when the starters aren't giving you length, and lately they haven't been giving much length, the bullpen's been getting the job done. Gregory Soto, really nice addition. Again, it's not a top 5 deal at the deadline by any means. But that gives you I don't want to say so much a really reliable reliever, but it gives you a good, solid lefty option out of the pen to pair with Rowley. They actually have 2 lefties now. There was a point they didn't have a single lefty this year because of the injury to Minter. So you have 2 lefties you can go to out of the pen, especially in the National League, where you're going against the Phillies with Schwarber, with Harper. You're going against the Dodgers with Freeman, with Ohtani. You need reliable lefty arms. So the Mets now have 2 of them. Diaz, he worked himself into trouble, and then he turned it up a gear and got out of it, striking out the next 2 batters. So he's been phenomenal. And the Mets aren't done. I do think they make one more trade this week, maybe 2. We'll see what happens. Center field's a possibility. I do think they get another reliever to pair with Soto in this deadline. But right now, the vibes are good. The vibes are good. I'm absolutely loving it. I know Tom's going to love it, too, when I say they're 7-0 in the Pablo Sanchez era, which is the new thing.
The meme Mets. I mean, it's you guys continue to just embarrass yourself and your franchise by doing the dumbest shit.
You know what is? You know what's embarrassing, Tom? The Yankee defense.
It's so cringeworthy. It is so cringeworthy.
I'll take the meme.
Dumb stuff that you guys do.
I'll take the cringe memes.
Grow up.
I'll take the cringe memes if I'm winning ball games. I don't give a crap.
You talking about Pablo?
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with winning baseball games, but your idiot fan base thinks it does. It is embarrassing.
Oh, it's
the stuff you guys do.
Tom.
The Mets are 13-1. If I put mustard on my hot dog,
Yankees just had these vibes back in the day. Thomas, AJ Burnett used to pie people, and they won a World Series that year.
Also, Rich, you shortchanged the Mets. They're a game and a half up of the Phillies.
That's how AJ Burnett would celebrate a win.
What happened? A game happened today, and I couldn't get to the graphic in time, Joe? What the fuck?
No, that's what it was last night. You just miscalculated.
Where is it?
The one up in the loss column, 2 up in the win column. Game and a half.
And that's on me. But I got the records right, I think.
Anyway, but listen, I agree with Corey. I'm interested to see what the Mets do. I know they need another reliever. Despite the conversations being had, I don't think they acquire a starter. And I don't know how they feel about the offensive players. Yes, we've said that we're going to get a center fielder. McNeil has looked okay in center field. He's offensively, he's doing fine. Beatty and now Mauricio are coming around offensively. We already know Beatty's the best third baseman that the Mets have in terms of defense. I don't think they have a real desire to replace those guys at the moment on the roster. So I'm interested to see what the move is. Who's going to be the victim of it in terms of playing time? Vientos is out of options. Vientos hasn't looked good. We don't know when Winker's coming back, so the DH slot is kind of in flux. But Marte's hitting about 380 in his last few weeks. He only plays against lefties, which is what he's good at. So I'm very curious. We definitely need another arm in the bullpen. We need another right-handed one in particular. Preferably a power arm, lead into Diaz, working that bridge towards Edwin Diaz. Brooks Raley has come back. He's looked phenomenal.
Phenomenal signing.
He's been an absolute phenomenal re-signing. Rich is sitting there going through promos. But at the end of the day,
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Mets can go a lot of different directions, and you can make the argument for each one of them. You can make the argument for getting an offensive player. You can also make the argument against it. And again, I don't see the starting pitcher out there now that Lugo's off the market. I don't see the big-time starting pitcher that's out there that you're really going to say, I'm going to go get that. There's a question whether or not Joe Ryan is actually available or not. Bringing in Alcantara or Zach Gallen at this point in the season with their numbers is a big risk. You can argue whether or not that actually improves your rotation. So it's one of those things. I'm really, really curious to see what Stearns comes up with in the next few weeks.
I agree. And if I'm going to rank, obviously the three biggest needs that we talked about last week in terms of position, no particular order. It's reliever, starting pitcher, and center fielder. Now, of those three, I think starting pitching is the least of need. It's more of a luxury if you go out and get one. I think if they do get a starter, it's going to be in some sort of package where you're getting one of the center fielder or reliever to come with it. So look at the Mets right now. They're getting good enough starting pitching. I would like a lot more length. That's the one thing I wish. But you do got McGill coming back, whose depth, you still got a couple of guys who are relatively close, like Sproat. But, it's a luxury. I think reliever, I agree with you, is their biggest need in terms of acquiring another, position for your team. The center now pitch to Diaz. Center fielder, I would like Roberts. I would like Mullins. I don't want to give up a lot for him. It just depends on the team.
I wish we could, but before Aaron just keeps spouting off, I wish I could take his little picture here, his little whatever that is. Let's blow that up on the screen before we call someone a Temu Garrett Crochet. All right, come on, Aaron. Let's put your mug on the screen and see what you look like. Because you know what, this looks good. It looks great. And again, from what we can tell in your picture here, I wouldn't be talking.
I mean, they look a little bit better on this guy. Someone tell Eastbound and Down our gimmicks can play better than Anthony Volpe.
Now listen, it might look better on him because I will say he does wear the sunglasses well, but listen, it's embarrassing. It's just grow up. It's truly a real grow up situation.
All right. Well, in for the wrap, Mets are doing great. They got a lot of moves to make. Gregory Soto is a great way to start their deadline here. Yankees need all the help they can get, to the point where I don't even know if all the help is even worth it. Maybe they have to retool. I don't know. These are discussions we need to have later on Extra Innings, but we got to move on with the rest of our show here. Before we get on to our next bit, Corey, fast throw to you and talk Instagram.
Yeah, listen, Instagram's a good time. You'll get all our meme reels there, graphics from the show. You name it, you'll find it on Instagram. So go ahead and follow us at Empire State of Baseball, and all of us individually. Myself at Corey Favs, Joe at JR Pugs, Rich at Rivera, and Tom at T Wospil. We're at 7,300 followers and growing. So let's see. I think another couple of good meme reels. We might hit that 10K spot. Because all it takes is one to all of a sudden find yourself up 500. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And Corey Favs, I mean, you've been a master of Instagram for not even just what we've been doing of late, but for the past couple of years, and you've helped really build this 7,300 plus following on IG. So we really do appreciate all the great work you've been putting in. Now, we did finalize one of your latest creations, and arguably it was your best one. So for those, and there's a lot of people in here, there's 200 plus people in the building. We thank you all for being here. For those who are new to this and didn't see what was going on Instagram, Corey Favs, what you had cooked up on Instagram for the last couple of months?
Yeah, so I wanted to do something a little different. I saw a couple of different types of reels that was something random where they're spinning a wheel and they're trying to put something together. So I was like, all right, how can we incorporate this for baseball? So I was like, all right, how about an international draft where we get a wheel, it has every country, spin the wheel, and then pick a player from that country and see what happens. The one problem is most countries do not have players who've made it to Major League Baseball. If you look at it from a percentage standpoint, it's a little less than 25% that have actually had a player reach MLB. So rather than have potentially one player getting drafted each week, I was like, all right, we're going to change it up a little bit as long as the player has heritage. I was not born in Italy, but I consider myself Italian. All my grandparents were born in the country. It's my great grandparents that are from Italy. So I was like, all right, we'll accept lineage. If you have heritage from that country, that's fine. We'll grandfather you in. No pun intended. So that's the way we went about doing it, and we built a team.
So let's look at that team. A whole 26-man roster built by Corey Fav, and you said it was 43 spins to get here. So let's take a look at your roster, and we'll go up and down here. I mean, Corey Fav, you're the manager of this team. What do you got?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll start with the starting lineup. Why not? So Japan, of all the countries in the wheel, Japan was the most drawn country, came up 3 times. And I started first, in my opinion, with the best player to play in Japan, and he just got into Hall of Fame. He had a phenomenal speech this week. That's Ichiro Suzuki as my leadoff hitter. Edgar Renteria then got the draw. Nice shortstop. Won a couple Gold Gloves. Solid player out there at short. When we drew Japan the second time, all the controversy went away. It was Shohei Ohtani to be our DH. Cuba was a very interesting draw. We ended up going with Rafael Primero for first base. A lot of comments came in saying, what about Chapman? What about Chapman? What about Chapman? Well, we already have, you see on the bullpen, we have a lot of good relievers there. We did not have a first baseman at the time. I figured, you know what, there's a better chance of getting a good reliever later. Let's go with Rafael Palmeiro. Evan Longoria, listen, he played for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, but again, I said lineage, so he's got lineage from Ukraine. Christian Yelich, again, lineage from Serbia. I think he had a grandfather born there.
Actually. I think it's Bosnia, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Bosnia, that's it. Thank you. We got a current Yankee. Jazz drew the draw from Bahamas, and we had 2 Bahamas players on the team. You'll see on the bench there, Andre Roberts. Eddie Ainsmith. At one point, I thought he was going to be our oldest player on the team. He played in the 20s, born in Russia, catcher. He ended up not being the oldest player. That's on the bench, John Anderson, who played for the Brooklyn Bridegrooms to start his. That's an actual
Bridegrooms
team. The Bridegrooms.
That was a major league franchise.
That's when it was just the American League. Not even Major League Baseball. He actually played, I think, his last year, the White Sox. And that was if you look at his actual baseball reference, I think only the White Sox 1 year is the only current team. But the Bridegroom. So he was the oldest player. And then Akil Baddoo, so he's in center field batting last, a little speed at the bottom of the lineup. So that's the starting lineup. Real quick, I'm just going to run through the rotation and bullpen in 1 minute. Dominican Republic, again, this is where the draft gets interesting because Dominican Republic, I could have went a million routes, so many good players, but at the time that we drew it, we didn't have a single starting pitcher. So I was like, let me go with Pedro Martinez. I need to guarantee an ace. Sure enough, later on, we got Freddie Jenkins, another Hall of Famer from Canada. So Yu Darvish, Chan-Ho Park, Edwin Jackson to round it off there. And in the bullpen, best closer in history, Mariano Rivera. Steve Bedrosian won a Cy Young in 1985 or 7, somewhere in that ballpark. And then a couple of other decent players. So, that's kind of how we shook it out.
I will say this, did a lot of I had so much study on flags putting this together because there are flags I could not identify off the rip. We did a little bit of research here. And listen, I think there's 23 total countries represented here, 3 Japan draws, 2 Bahamas draws. That were the only multi-time drawers here out of your wheel. And again, for those who are checking in, we didn't pick this team ourselves. This was drawn randomly by a wheel. So the wheel selected the country, and then Corey would go ahead and select the player that was born or has ties to that country. Now, Joe, Tom, Corey, the big question that Corey had asked in all these reels, could you win a World Series with this roster? Joe, what do you think?
The offense, I think, they got a hole in center field. I'm not 100% sure how the catching situation would be. See if our guy can adapt to the modern catcher's equipment. Mm-hmm. But listen, the offense, when you have Ichiro, Ohtani, Palmeiro, I'm assuming Palmeiro's on the juice, Longoria, Yelich, like that's a great lineup. That's a really high-scoring lineup. The pitching, you got your ace. Fergie Jenkins is no slouch either. Darvish in his prime was really good. Famer. Chano Park and Edwin Jackson are okay. They're innings eaters. But it's a competitive team. I think it would be in the high 90s. But again, that offense is going to be the driving force behind the team.
I think they absolutely would win the World Series. Now let's pretend, the steroid stuff. I mean, Rafael Palmeiro is a Hall of Fame stat player. So take that in consideration. You have Ichiro, Ohtani, Palmeiro, Pedro, Fergie Jenkins, and Mo. That's 6 Hall of Famers on this team. If we're assuming this is them in their prime, and plus Ohtani, who will get there. So I think this team absolutely wins the World Series. Yes, the starting pitching has a bit, not much bit of a drop off. Prime Darvish is an ace. Chandler Parker's your.
Well, remember, Tom, when you get to a World Series, you cut it down to your top 3 or 4 starters. So Edwin Jackson doesn't even matter here.
And let's also keep in mind, I think the one area that was maybe a little bit in question was the bullpen. You have the ultimate ace in the hole. You could throw Ohtani in to pitch an inning if you needed to. He closed out the WBC, so he's available in a tight game to come in. Extra inning game, maybe Mo's giving you 2 and you needed someone to pitch the 11th. You have Ohtani that could do it.
There you go.
I think this team definitely wins the World Series. I don't even think it's frankly close.
If you don't know, I think the most interesting guy is Al Hrabosky, the mad Hungarian. If you don't know who he is, if you haven't been watching baseball that long or you haven't seen it, look up Hal Hrabosky and see they call him the mad Hungarian for a reason. And he looks every bit of it. I mean, this guy was 5'11", 185 pounds, was just a psychopath on the mat. The typical reliever that is a absolute nutcase.
Joe, they look like they pulled that guy from underneath an underpass to fucking play baseball. I mean,
basically, once Pedro throws at someone's head, I mean, he's coming in from the bullpen, and he's taking heads.
Yep.
It's pronounced. Man. Oh, sorry, Boogie. It's pronounced Hrabosky. So we're out here.
I'm sorry, I'm not Hungarian.
Like a bunch of idiots. Here.
Oh man! And I will say too, for those who are following along on Instagram and YouTube, go ahead. We've got the shorts. We have the reels. We have another reel segment coming up. And instead of trying to win a World Series, can we build a better team than the international team? So I was waiting. I was praying for United States to come up because there's so many routes I could have went. I thought I had it on the final day, but it was United Kingdom, not United States. So since we didn't get the U.S. at all, we're doing a U.S. series now where we're going to spin the state wheel, 50-state wheel each and every day. They have to be born in the state. So no more heritage, no more, I lived there. No, you have to be born from that state. And because there's countless players, I mean, you have a number of states, well over 1,000 MLB players. We're adding in a twist. We're also randomizing the position. So that kind of makes it interesting too. A lot of options you can go with. So off the rip, I did not get a Hall of Famer. I got a player who only played like 6 years. It's just because you get the luck of the draw with the position too. So can the U.S. team beat the international team? Think of it as the futures game, U.S. versus international.
Here's a question for you, Corey. Hector asked if Edwin Jackson was born on a U.S. base in Germany, does that
have
make
to be
him
born
actually German?
Just have to be born there. It's not necessarily. Well, heritage is the second layer. The first layer, were you born there? So Edwin Jackson was born there, so it counts.
We have some breaking news. Eugenio Suarez just got hit in the hand with a 96-mile-per-hour fastball and is leaving the game. This is just reported in by Robert Murray. So
wow,
possibly the biggest offensive target going into Thursday is hurt and out of the game. So we'll monitor.
Trey look even better.
There we go. All righty, let's talk YouTube, Joseph.
Yes, we are live on Instagram and X, but YouTube is actually our preferred platform. Why we can interact with you in the chat during our episodes and streams. So go over to YouTube, type in Empire State of Baseball, and go to our page and hit that subscribe button. We're at 490 subscribers. 490. We are 10 away from doing a giveaway. So if you know 10 people who aren't subscribed, send it to them so we can start a giveaway, and we're going to get something for you guys. We're going to have everybody's going to have an opportunity to win something by participating, and we'll have something nice. Last time we gave away 2 autographed baseball cards of 2 currently active players on both teams, which was great. We'll leave the players' names off to the side. But please help us get to 500. Subscriptions are free. All you have to do is click that little red button in the corner.
And the way that it's looking, I mean, we've been making some great pace over the last month. I mean, we could have that giveaway as soon as next week, depending on how things go. So we'll keep you posted on it. But we'll certainly be hitting that mark really soon. And we appreciate all your support and love. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get into the Bears and Bulls, New York Strike Exchange. We start off with our Bear list this time around. Corey, I'm going to throw it to you once again. Actually, Corey, you spoke a lot there. I'm going to give you some time. Joe, we're going to go right back to you, sir.
Sure.
And let's go over the Bear list, or as I like to call it, the Polar Bear list.
Yeah. All right. So starting out, number 5, Ian Hamilton of the New York Yankees. 3 1/3 innings pitched. He gave up 5 earned runs, 4 hits, and 2 walks this past week. Number 4, Austin Wells, who's batting an even 100. Again, it's a shortened time frame. Only about 9 games were played in this time span. So just keep a reminder on that. Number 3, Scott Efros, who's been totally ineffective out of the bullpen. 4 2/3, 8 earned runs, 12 hits given up. He's given up almost as many hits as he's had batters faced. In terms or outs he's gotten. Just not a pretty ERA there. Number 2, Jason Dominguez, 3 for 24, his last 24, 160 on base percentage, 7 Ks, and exceptionally poor defense in left over the past few weeks. And then number 1 is Pete Alonso, a $118, a 139 on base percentage, 11 Ks. He's been rough at the plate ever since coming back from the All-Star break. He did have a long All-Star break, unlike most people on this list, but has not looked good then. I will say I disagree with Pete being 1. I think it should have been Dominguez 1, Pete 2, only because if you bring in the defense, Dominguez has been a lot worse overall as a complete package. Pete did save the game the other day with the defensive play. So I will say that I
agree, but at the same time, I think it's closer than you're making it. I mean, the stat lines are right in front of you. In 10 more at bats, Alonso's got a worse.
Oh no! Again, offensively, they've been bad, but Dominguez's defense has to put him over the top, in my opinion. He's been about the worst defensive left fielder I've seen in a long time.
Thomas, a lot of trash Yankees are on this Bears list. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's actually. It's surprising there's not more Yankee relievers, because basically all of them, other than Devin Williams, have been a Bear for quite a long time right now. We can't. Scott Efros, Ian Hamilton. at least Efros has been hurt for a long time, and maybe he's working his way back through some stuff. I don't know. Ian Hamilton, I've seen enough. I think he's should so be bad. I mean, truly the first to go if they can get some reinforcements in the bullpen. He's the first one I would get rid of. But Efros, the Yankees actually have a lot more years of control with him. I would be fine sending him back down if they needed to. Like, hey, try to figure it out, because they he could maybe develop or kind of get back to the way he was a few years ago. In Hamilton, it's uncompetitive at this point, and I can't do it. I can't do it anymore with him. He's been so bad all year.
Scott Efros was acquired by the Yankees. The attractiveness was his control. I mean, he had 6 years of control, Thomas, when they traded for the guy.
So
and,
I'm okay with sending that down.
Yeah, the best we've seen of Scott Efros is probably the first 2 weeks of his Yankees debut ever since he's been injured or he's been like this. A bear, Corey Favs. Corey? You lose Corey?
Oh, there he is.
Corey might be on the Oscars.
Oh, you can hear me now.
Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, my system is wonky like the Yankees bullpen right now. But listen, you got a couple of relievers over here. It goes to show you. It goes to show you. That's a position of need. You look to target the deadline, see what happens. Like we'll say too with the Mets. Lindor just missed this list. He had a couple of votes too. I think he saved himself, at least from my vote, having a really good 3 of the last 4. But for the Mets to win 7 in a row, with Pete Alonso putting up these numbers and Lindor not being too far behind, it's pretty impressive. So I'm happy with that.
I also thought Judge should have gotten consideration for the 5 slot.
Of course, you thought.
It batting $160. You had to be fair.
Bury the guy while he's down.
Well, again, he's coming from a place his stock is
missed
so
2 games out of the 9 that were
being
played. Come on now.
I missed earnings this month, so you gotta bring him down a peg a little bit. You had a $160. He was at 400 all year.
If you try to touch my money again, I'm gonna come over there and smack the taste out of you.
Let's be real.
We don't penalize guys. He's been hurt.
But that he's
been playing hurt. We don't penalize.
I just thought of something. Are you guys wearing the same shirt? I just realized this.
This is Stars. I'm an American. I'm wearing an American shirt. I don't know what Tom's wearing over there.
I'm wearing a shirt to honor Chubbs. It's Great America.
I thought you guys wearing the same
Greater
shirt.
America than you wish you could be.
All right, whatever. ADD. So listen, that's our Bears list, whether you like it or not. I know Joe wanted to get Judge in there so Tom could lose some value before he eventually sold him, which we're going to get into trading floor in a little bit. But let's get into the Bulls, Thomas, formerly known as the Aaron Judge Memorial List. So let's see what we got here.
Now truly the Aaron Judge Memorial List as he's on the IL. Basically the exact opposite of the Bears list with the color schemes mixed there. Number 5, we have Brett Beatty. Welcome to the Bulls list. Might be your first time this year because you've been on the Bears list, I think, at least a few times, and in the minors probably a few times as well. 300 average, the good OPS there, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, fine. I'll be honest, when I was going through my Bulls list, it was a little late this week. I felt like there were some standouts, and then the bottom was just like, I don't know, maybe this guy. Brennan Nimmo, kind of the example of that. Good couple weeks, not phenomenal, but it was slim pickings going on in the Bulls list, mostly because the Yankees didn't provide much there. David Peterson, a definitely well-deserving Bull, 1-0, 12 innings, a sub-1 ERA. This is probably his third or fourth time on the Bulls list this year. He has been, if we had an award show at the end of the year, definitely a breakout performer between both teams. He's been very good for the Mets. Edwin Diaz, 4 saves. No earned runs, 9 Ks. That's what you want from Edwin Diaz. 9 Ks and out of his 14 outs, he got 9 of them by strikeout. That's some Edwin Diaz baseball right there. And then number 1, Giancarlo Stanton. Welcome back to the Bulls list. God only knows the last time you showed up here because we don't do a postseason Bulls list. A 345 average, a 1 OPS, 3 homers. He's been on fire. He's been Giancarlo Stanton. He's been playoff Stanton, and the Yankees have needed it because they probably wouldn't have won a game if it wasn't for him. He's been very good, and if the Yankees want a chance moving forward, he's going to need to continue to be really good.
The last time Giancarlo Stanton was featured on a bull list dates all the way back to the 2 weeks of June 10th, 2024 to June 23rd, 2024. He was number 3 on the list.
I'm surprised that would have been longer.
Yeah, so there you have it. And yes, if we did a postseason bull list, he would have definitely been up there as number 1. But yeah, Giancarlo Stanton up there at number 1. Very weird list to have one bear and one number 1 bear and one number 1 bull to represent either team, and the rest of the spots are the respective teams. So a very weird breakout for Bulls and Bears this time around. You don't see a breakout like that. Giancarlo at number 1. It's great to see the offense back for Stanton. Again, we're only talking about a small sample here because this is just since the All-Star break. It's only a few games, but 10 of 29 in this span. 1.096 OPS. Love what you're seeing out of Stanton. I'll be honest though, guys, I didn't vote Stanton my personal number 1. I actually had the Mets closer Edwin Diaz up there. We don't get a lot of opportunities to get closers in the number 1 spot, and Diaz being as perfect and guys, I mean, let's face it, he's been the best closer in baseball once again in 2025. I actually had Diaz in the 1 spot here, Corey and Joe.
I had. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I had Peterson in the 1 slot only because he's been so good from the starting position. I had Peterson 1, Stanton 2, Diaz 3. The 3 of them have all been crucial to the team. I just thought with the starter going twice in the rotation, basically pitching beauties both times, I thought he in a short offensive week that would have been a little bit more weighted. And then I actually didn't have Nimmo on the list. I did have Francisco Alvarez, who's batting about 350 since he's been recalled. He only played in 6 games so far since being recalled, but definitely one guy I thought was deserving of that as well. So I wanted to note that one.
Yeah, and I'm cool. I think the top 3 was definitely my top 3. I did have Stanton as my 1. I think I had Peterson 2, Diaz 3. I think Diaz and Peterson are interchangeable because Diaz, again, perfect closing, and Peterson gave you 2 great outings, especially this weekend. If Stanton wasn't that good, 345, OPS almost 1.1. It would have been one of the pitchers, but I'm definitely cool with the list. I think to Tom's point too, cooled off a little bit. I think there was a couple of players that had a really good week, and then they cooled off around the weekend. Nimmo's in that boat too. He didn't have the best of weekends, but he had a really, really good week leading into it. But that's it. I'm cool with the list.
All right, boys.
That being said, Ian Hamilton is in the game, and the Rays will score this inning.
More likely, yes, absolutely. But until we figure out what's going on, it's time to once again ring our opening bell because it's now time for the New York Stock Exchange and its trading floor. So let's take a look at the updated values here, gentlemen. And we have to expand the list a little further this time around. A lot of new names are being added to the mix here. We saw David Peterson's now up to 109.20 here. Edwin Diaz up to 77. Brandon Nimmo and Giancarlo Stanton cracking the top half of our investment costs. We moved that along to our more middle range guys that are trying to get back into the above 50 zone. Brett Beatty's at 49.5. Joe's making a bunch of faces backstage, so I got questions for him. Sure. Are you all right?
No, I Alonso being at 45 is
because he was at 90. So because he was the number 1 there, it takes him down 50%. So it's a quite an atomic drop for Pete Alonso, getting all the way down from 45.
So about where you fall.
It's an unfortunate part of the game here, Joseph. So Pete Alonso all the way down to 45 now. So he's on the cheap. We'll see maybe anybody invest on that. And then this is the bottom. This is the shit. This is the dog shit. The Oswald Peraza is 14.4. So, it's funny, guys, because I think the intent of this whole thing, obviously there's a game aspect to it, but there is a bit of fantasy baseball because you see, though, the guys who are at the bottom truly deserve to be at the bottom here. I mean, this is the ultimate crap of crap. So this has really served as a great measurement to see where the player evaluations are. So I really like what's been going on here with the trading floor. But let's get into the investors. Corey Favs, we start with you here. You decided to hold Fried and Soto. They did not gain or lose any value. So what's the call here? Are you holding on to these stocks? Are you moving on? What do you got?
Again, I think I'm going to hold on to Soto. I think that's one that's going to continue going up too. The Freed one, I was very happy with that addition a couple of weeks back, or I should say now over a month back. But then, of course, when I get him and pay the big price, he gets the blister, and kind of so is over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and sell Freed because I like some of the value that we got out there. So I'm going to take that 110.
That takes you to 114. That takes you to 114.
114. All right. I'm going to take that 114 and head to the trading floor. Give me the Pete Alonso at 45. I mean, that's an absolute bargain of a deal.
So Alonso at 145. Let's do that math here. I got a Texas instrument, folks. You're up to 69. Nice.
60. Oh, Nice. You know what? I don't want to do a threesome with the Mets, but I feel like I have to just because of how good Alvarez has looked. Give me Francisco Alvarez as well. I think is he 50? Did he ever get a bull this year?
Yes.
Oh, he did get a bull. Give me him for $26.40.
26.
Wow. And I could potentially do one more deal, or do I just hold the money and run?
Well, until we have a graphic that can expand out to 3, I would say hold.
Yeah.
I mean, we could listen. If you want to go for it, we could expand. So you're at now 42.60. Do you want to be the first person to invest into a fourth player?
I'm at 42.50.
Let me see if there's anybody on the cusp here. No. So this is how.
Give me Devin Williams.
Devin Williams. Okay. Wow. Okay. So Corey Favs really going for it. He's investing in 4 players. So that's going to leave him with 60 cents or whatever the equivalent of ESP bucks is for 60 cents in his deposit here. So just so we can keep score at home for you guys. So you're holding Soto, you're now investing in Alonso, you're investing in Alvarez, and you're investing in Devin Williams.
I love it.
Wow. Okay. Corey Favs. That's a big day for you at the shop. Okay, Joe, let's head over to you and see what you got. Last time we checked in, I mean, we had some numbers change here, and this is another first. You got the first bull and the first bear in your investments here. So
and then a push. You had one of everything.
But Stanton goes up to 75 from 50. So what are we thinking here?
I think I can't sell Lonzo at a loss. He's gonna come back up. Soto obviously is Soto. And so the thing is Stanton, should I take my win-ins from Stanton or should I risk holding? I think I'm going to hold him one more week. Stanton's one of those guys who's going to give you diminishing returns. We know that he's going to go into a slump or he's going to get hurt and that's going to derail you. But I'm going to go the one more week, the one more round with Stanton, especially with Judge being out. Stanton's going to play every single day. So I'm going to go with the fact that Stanton's going to give me one more boost, and I'm going to hold pat this time.
Hold it everything.
But I can tell you right now that Stanton was probably going to be sold the next time around.
And unfortunately, 4 ESP bucks is not enough to buy Oswald Peraza. Just want to let you know. You need 10 more to get there. Tom, let's jump into you. Tom, this is an interesting one. Very interesting one, because at this point, we know what the move is for you to do. It was a move you probably didn't think you were going to make at all. But is it time to sell Aaron Judge?
No, it is not time to sell Aaron Judge. My stock is, listen, it is not going to appreciate in the next couple weeks. I understand that, but I would never have the ability to go in and get Aaron Judge again. So I need to hold pat on Aaron Judge. We're gonna ride this out. It's like, the company is just kind of on a freeze right now. There's some stuff going on. We're going to get through it. And when he comes back, he's going to be ready to go, and he's going to get back onto that bull list. And I think that's the only option I have. I have the most bucks at this point. These bucks will not go down the next 2 weeks. So I need one of you guys to try to come get me. And until you do, I don't have to do anything.
Okay, there you go. Boogie goes, damn, Tom cleans up well. I guess referring to your Hogwarts student photo over here. So let's get to mine here. I'm gonna try to keep this as easy without the fact of just holding everybody, holding Lindor, holding Soto. I'm still gonna prey on the fact that Lindor is gonna get out of this mega funk that he's been on. Corey, I can imagine Lindor was really on the cusp of being a bear. So there was some risk here. Had a chance to have not only one but two bears here. Dominguez, I think we got to sell Dominguez. Unfortunately, I know I'm not going to get much value out of Jason here. So that's going to bring me up to, let's see, 25 plus 3. That is my calculator in the back. That gets me to 28.95. Do I have anybody even worth 28.95? You know what? I hate to repeat a move that was made here, but I'm going to do it. Francisco Alvarez. I'm going to do that move as well. I'm going for the first time this year, boys, going all Mets with my investment. So we got Soto. Get out of here, Tom. We got Soto. we got Soto. We got Lindor, and we got Alvarez. And that's how we're going to run there. So 29, 39, 28. That takes me to 395 again, I think. I think that was the calculation I got in there. Something like that. I don't know. I got enough bucks to do it. So Alvarez, Soto, Lindor is my call.
Someone approaches my ESB buck amount, and then I'll make a move. But until then,
I thought you were gonna. I really thought you were gonna do it this time.
Why?
You had a choice, but I guess you did. So I was wrong again. Okay, let's we'll move on. And before we get to our trick of the trade to finish off tonight's show, we're at we're at the 9:10 p.m. Eastern time mark here. I just want to do some shout outs here on X. Make sure to give us a follow at ESB Podcast. That's the main page. That's the parent page. That's where a lot of you guys are watching us right now on X, and we do appreciate 260 of you in the building. Thank you very much. Also give us a follow on our subsidiaries. We have ESB NYN, which is managed by Corey and Joe. ESB NYY, which is managed by me, Tom, Sierra, Chris, Boogie, the all cast of characters from A Bronx Take, which you could check out Monday through Friday, select times throughout the week. And of course, while you're still on X, go over to ESB Podcast right after tonight's show and check out Extra Innings. All right, it's now time for the game of the week. We look at our standings, and they're really close, boys. Joe and Tom knotted at 16 in first place, and Corey and I knotted at 14 in third place. Probably the closest matchup we've had in ESB Games history at this time of the year. So this is going to be, every week is going to really matter as far as points go, and there are a few points up for grabs today. So we're gonna do a little game called Trick of the Trade. So apropos that Trick of the Trade happens in the week of the trade deadline, of course. Didn't plan it, but that's how it shook out. So Corey, Favs, you have the first deal for us. It is a Mets trade. So let's see what you got.
We're going to go back in time a little bit to 1992. A familiar face for both teams, David Cone, was shipped off by the Mets to the Blue Jays. The Mets acquired 2 players, one of them being Ryan Thompson, one of them being blank.
John Olerud.
Not Olerud. I think that's though, because he was a Blue Jay.
Good guess.
That is a K for Tomas.
Oh no, it's a big name. Is it Jeff Kent?
It is Jeff Kent, correct.
Yep.
Joseph.
I knew it was a big name.
Okay. All right. So a big one for Joe there. Mm-hmm. So Joe takes a lead over Tom right now. He's in sole possession of first place, unless Tom has something to say about that in our next version of Trick or Trade. As always, for those who are just joining us, we do a Mets version and a Yankees version. But Tom, you decided you wanted to change it up a little bit for your version of Trick of the Trade.
Ooh.
We do have, and I will say this, our missing player is a former Yankee or Met. This is not just a random trade out there. I want to go back to 2003, January 15th to be specific. The Montreal Expos acquired this player, Rocky Beidel, who cares, and Jeff Leifer, again, who cares, for Bartolo Colon and Jorge Nunez. So again, this is a one of our team's former players was the player that's missing.
I don't know if he was a Yankee, but was it Tony Armas Jr.?
It is not Tony Armas Jr.
What a guess.
That is
that was
let's go with Ricky Leday.
It is not Ricky Leday.
I don't think he was ever an Expo.
I think Leday was an Expo. I don't think he was a White Sox.
He was an Expo, pretty sure.
A Met and Yankee.
Met and Yankee. Expo. So this was January. So the Expos were only around one more year.
Yes.
Right. So I might remember this player as a national more than an Expo.
And he might have not even made it the major league team. Could have been a prospect.
Christian Guzman.
It's not Christian Guzman. I'm trying to see.
K's for each right now.
Ricky Leday was in the David Justice trade.
There goes a future trick of the trade for us.
We've used that one already.
We have? We've used a lot.
Pretty sure.
Oh,
I almost used that one for this.
El Duque?
It is El Duque, Orlando Hernandez.
Joe, what a day.
Joe cheats again.
What a day for Joseph. So there you go.
Day for cheaters.
Hernandez.
I was gonna guess El Duque and then Levon. I was gonna guess one of each.
El Duque was part. Oh man, was it El Duque? I thought El Duque was a part of the White Sox 2005 World Series team, but no, it was Jose Contreras. I think that was it. It was Jose Contreras. That's where I drew a blank there. Okay, there we go. All righty. Very good. So, Joe, clean sweep. You got the sole lead. You're up to 18 now, Tom, in sole possession of second place. Corey and I still at the back end of it, but we still have plenty of games to go. Our next one's Defining Moment, which is a favorite of mine, a recent favorite in addition to ESP Games. In a couple of weeks, we got Core Curriculum, and you know how many points we can get out of Core Curriculum. So that's great. All right, but that's
Core Curriculum.
Just about wrap it up for Empire State of Baseball. A couple of subtle reminders to see some of the comments here in the chat. There was I guess a Ruben Rivera there who once stole Derek Jeter's glove, which was fun. All right, so a couple of things. So we'll be back again for another edition of Empire State of Baseball next Monday. As always, regular schedule episodes always Mondays at 8:00 p.m. But we will actually do something pretty cool this week in terms of the trade deadline. So for the first time ever, this Thursday, and we announced this last week on X, we are going to be hosting ESP Live on Thursday, July the 31st at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And this will be in surrounding the trade deadline. So all the news that's going to be pouring in, we'll get live reactions, and we're going to do something cool. So we're opening this up to all the hosts that are involved with ESB. So it'll not just be the few of us here. We're also going to ask our colleagues over from our X Spaces to join us as well. And for the first time in about a year, we're going to open up the call line. So anybody can join us and live react to some of the incoming news. We'll get you up almost like a WFAN sports radio format. We'll get you up. You don't have to be on video. You can if you want to. You don't have to be on video, but that will be available as well on Thursday for the first edition of ESB Live. It's going to be really fun. And I tell you what, there's going to be a lot of surprises that day, and it may not have to do with just trades. Just keep that in mind. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So tune in for our trade deadline episode this Thursday, July the 31st. But that's it for Empire State of Baseball, boys. Let's take it around the room. And again, thank you all for joining us. 270 people joined us today for Empire State of Baseball. We really do appreciate it. Tom, Joey, Core for the wrap. Let's take it home.
I want to thank Luke Weaver for coming in and cleaning up Ian Hamilton's mess. No runs given up in the top of the seventh. So let's see if the Yankees can make a comeback here, and let's get some mojo going the right way with some good bullpen.
Mets playing at 9:40 against the Padres. So nice late start, but not at least it's not 10:30.
Yeah, listen, let's go White Sox up 4-2 on the Philadelphia Phillies in the seventh inning. So let's see. Go White Sox. But listen, like Rich said before, we got a really exciting week ahead. Not only the trading deadline, but a special show this Thursday. So please go ahead, join us, tune in, and we'll talk to you then.
Extra
Have a great evening.